Hey everybody, Average Picker here. I am tired. It was a long day at work, but I came home and found several packages in the mailbox. And so what I thought I would do was because I had ordered from Southord their Dimple picks. And I thought what we might do is take a look at those, kind of just a quick first impressions. I'm not going to call it a proper review or anything like that. It's more is just kind of my first impressions of them. But first, huge thank you to Lockpicking gal. So yeah, one of the packages was quite a surprise. Lockpicking gal sent me this pack lock, with a little engraving on it there, and a very cool little keychain. And so yeah, and she's giving some of these away. I was not expecting to get one of these. She's giving them away though too, but she sent me one. I get for as kind of a thank you for some previous stuff I'd sent her, and I just wanted big thanks. This is really, really cool. Yeah, the keychain, it's Lockpicking's gal, and it says, "Take care of your teeth, save your life." And she has one of her first videos is her story kind of how she got into lockpicking, but it talks about how a bad tooth infection really turned into a very severe heart problem. And I won't go into all the details on it. I wasn't aware that could happen. And I guess a lot of people are not, and she is helping to bring a lot of awareness to that. So yeah, it's very cool. It's pack lock. It's got that kind of 1100-ish style to it. Why am I not picking it? We should pick it. Maybe that'll be there's our bidding on this one. And it's got this cool little engraving. It was done by her niece, and she initialized it. I don't know, is that supposed to be Lockpicking gal? Is that the drawing who it's supposed to be? I'm gonna pretend it is. Yeah, it's very, very cool. So definitely gonna treasure this. That was awesome. Very, very enjoyable. We'll stick this on my keychain, and we will put, well, it's just out of frame there, but you know what, we'll leave it in frame for right now. So yes, pack lock from Lockpicking gal. Hop on over, check out our channel. If I remember, I'll put a link to it below. But thank you again. That's really, really cool. I mean it. That quite a neat surprise. Yeah, love it. Not sure what else to say to you. So was not expecting it, and it's incredible. So thank you very much. Okay, so we just jumped forward a few hours, and it's now about like 2 a.m. So I'm going to keep my voice down a little bit for this look at these. But yeah, if you've watched any of my videos before, you probably know I'm struggling with dimple locks. And so one of my latest solutions to that problem was, let's throw more money at it. So I ordered the Southord PXD 15 set. Now, this is kind of just a first impressions. I've only maybe had about an hour to play around with these. And like I said, I don't think I'm really in a position to give a very good review right now. But I do also have the Sparrow set, and I've got some Honest Dongs. So I thought we might just take a look at those all kind of in comparison, and I'll give you some of my first impression thoughts on them. Now, one reason I kind of wanted these, so this is the Sparrow's Dimple pick, right? It's just kind of a random one pulled out, and I do like them. They are a little bit flimsy in there, and that's just, I mean, they are smoothed down. They're taken down pretty narrow for really be able to get into a dimple lock well. What I found though was I kept gravitating towards this one. Now it's in an Honest Dong handle, but this is actually a dimple pick that Fast Charlie made out of a windshield wiper insert and sent to me. And I really like this one. It's a little stiffer. And I found, even though I came into picking fairly light-handed, I seem to have a pretty heavy twist with dimple locks, at least for the time being. And so yeah, while I was kind of bending some of these, sometimes especially after a long aggravating session, yeah, I was getting a little worried about it. And I found myself using this because this had some pretty good strength to it, and it was good enough to get in there and do a fairly good job. You can pick multi-juniors and stuff with this one. So yeah, not too bad. So I wanted something kind of in between. And that's not to say that this is better than the Sparrow set or worse. I don't really know. I'm just going to leave it and say it is different than the Sparrows set. I think that's probably the best way for me to sum it up at this moment. But knowing Southord products, I figured it was going to fit in here somewhere, right? So not quite an Honest Dong, not quite a Sparrows, probably close to a Fast Charlie's pick. And that does seem to kind of be the way it is. So let's flip around and look at them. Okay, so this is the one I ordered. Southord, a PXD15. It cost me about $48. I did not use any kind of discount codes or anything like that. So that was just the straight up price, and I ordered it straight from Southord. So yeah, you get 4 of these left-handed guys, you get 4 of these right-handed guys, and a basic flag pick for it. You also get 2 of these. I spent a few minutes with them. I found them incredibly uncomfortable, just couldn't come up with a way to grip them. Don't plan to ever go back to them. Those are kind of throwaways to me. And then you get 3 tensioners. So this is one of them. You get kind of a large Z-bar. You know, and I don't worry about the finish. If you do, you know, I can tell you the working ends on some of these especially is not all that great, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Or the non-working end, I suppose. You know, that little notch there, that is a fuck up. That's not a feature. You can kind of see that not featured several places around here. Now I was a little surprised about the handle. It's a very tiny handle. I was kind of hoping for something closer to the Honest Dong handle. That's how it compares to that. It's even, you know, shorter than the Sparrows. That said, it's not that bad. I used it in a couple, I don't know, 20-minute bursts, and it was kind of fine. Yeah, not great, but it was kind of okay. Now, this is an Honest Dong pick that's been removed from its handle, and you can see they're pretty similar. I did try it out. They will fit in these, though you might need a longer screw in there, because these do sit a little bit thinner, and they were kind of stingy on the length of these screws, at least in some of mine. Others, it was fine. So that's some quality control for you. So yeah, we will grab one here and I'll show you a comparison. So this is the Southord on the left and the Honest Dong on the right. Let's see if we can. So they are pretty thick and they're not rounded off. I plan to leave them this way for a while. I'm not going to do any work to them. I just want to see how they behave, get a feel for them before I start modifying them, if I even bother to. I can feel the difference. It may not look it. These are thinner. I don't really have a way to measure it for you, but they are thinner, and they're definitely finished off a lot better. This one I even did a little bit of work on. A more honest comparison would probably be something like that. The other thing is the metal just feels nicer. I don't know what it is about these. I have this compulsion to wash my hands when I'm done because it just feels like some kind of metal that's made out of lead and mercury. And yeah, just, I don't know. There's something weird about them. Now, of course, if we come in and compare it to the Sparrows, you know, you can see quite the difference. But this holds, it's quite a bit stiffer. And that is, as I said, something I was looking for. The other thing I was finding, and it's probably because I don't know what I'm doing, I was getting lost in the lock sometimes, right? Especially, let me grab one here. So yeah, especially as I got back in here, I would sometimes find myself getting a little lost on the orientation with the Sparrows because they are so round. And so that was one of the things I really liked about the Fast Charlie pick, was the fact that it was flatted here. So that always gave me a way to roll back to, right? To reorientate the pick, sort of like, rally cars with the tape on the steering wheel. So yeah, the Southfords are sort of am I saying they're like a rally car steering wheel? Maybe I am. But it's convenient and handy, especially, because especially when you're starting out, you get them stuck in there and you're trying to get them out and you start twisting and you lose track of which way it's turned. These do, of course, fit in tensioned. You're not stupid. You know how that works, right? You slide it in, you tighten it down, and it does hold pretty well. So how is it in the lock? Well, I've not had a whole lot of time to put them to very extensive use. However, I can tell you, I sat down and I picked 2 of the cheaper Chinese ones I had that I've gotten into before. But I picked them, and I picked them much quicker than normally, especially for the amount of time that's gone by that I have not worked on a Dimple. I also tried it in an ICO, an R6, I believe. Yeah, tried it in one of these. Apparently pretty good to kind of learn and practice on. I've actually still got it in the clamp. And I just felt better results. Maybe it's a little psychological. We'll see what happens once I use them a lot more and wear them in some. But yeah, it felt pretty good. I fell into a bit of a false very quickly on it, which normally I don't. And I got through the RB. This is a pretty basic one. But yeah, I got through this guy without really any problems. Well, I shouldn't say without problems, but did it all right. So I was quite happy with that because that was better results than I've had in the past. Now, I'm not saying, that's because of these picks and these picks are doing better than these. It's just, for whatever reason, right now, these were sitting quite comfortable. The bad, though, they are quite thick. We'll pull up one of the more curved ones here, too. So, and you can see, this is the most curved of those lifts that it's got there. Most of them seem to be almost just notched. If you can kind of see that there. But as I said earlier, they are quite thick. And so I did find maneuvering them under the pins was a bit difficult, especially in locks like the CO and the RB. And anything with like low setting pins, it's really tough to get them underneath there. That said, they center really well. I found it pretty easy to tell when I was dead on the pin. That is something I've had a little bit of struggle with the Sparrows. The Sparrows get in there under those pins really, really well. It far beats out these in that. And I don't know if it's because of the flex in it, or what, but I find that I can feel the pin, but I'm often tracing back and forth over it a lot. I'm having trouble centering the pin to get a really good lift on the Sparrows. And I don't know if it's the flex that it's got to it or what it is. Can feel the pins fine. It really gets in there really, really well. But I was just finding these to be easier to center up on. I'm not surprised though. The Fast Charlie one I was doing okay with, but it's a much smaller spot he's got there to sink in and grab on the pins with. And of course, these I found just the Honest Dong ones. They're just way too bulky for the most part for anything but some really the cheaper Chinese Dimples that I have. I've been able to use them to get into that, but these have been kind of the worst of all worlds. Hard to tell when you're centered on the pin and hard to get in underneath the pins. So do I think it was money well spent? $48. It's pretty in line with what the Sparrow set costs. I don't know which one of these I would rather have, this or the Sparrows. Currently, right now, I'm kind of excited about this one, and I'm tempted to say this one. I wish I had this one over the Honest Dongs, I can tell you that. But over the Sparrows, I don't know. Right now, like I said, the best thing I can tell you is not whether they're better or they're worse, but that they're different, and they're definitely stiffer. So if you're looking for a stiffer, I guess, Dimple pick, these would be a good choice. And I have a sneaky suspicion that what's going to happen once I get a little bit better, I am going to end up modifying some of these. I'm also curious if you can just buy these individually, because I would not mind buying a couple basic flags and toying with some modding of them. So yeah, I think, that's kind of junk. I don't know. This could be the most useful thing in the world. I'm suspecting it's not. I would say on the whole thing, that's pretty much your most useful stuff there. And that's the other thing with the Sparrow set is the tensioners in the Sparrow set I like a lot better. There's some just awesome tensioners. This is pretty basic stuff, right? I mean, you get these in most things. So, the selection on the Sparrows is a little bit better. They're definitely, more well worked over, much smoother, rounded off like most people tend to like them. Though I like having the flat spot to be able to reorientate the pick. And these are definitely stiffer. They square off and kind of target under the pin, I think, pretty well though. Though again, being thicker, they don't move under it quite as smoothly. So yeah, there we go. That's just kind of a first look and first impression, I guess, of this pick set. And I might come back later once I've really put it through its paces and do a better, more proper review of it. But until then, maybe that will give you some idea if you're thinking about this, or maybe it wasn't on your radar and now it maybe is. Maybe you didn't even know Southord was doing Dimple picks. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not upset with getting them though, not at all. Quite happy with it. So, but I'm also quite happy with the Sparrows. So yeah, there we go, guys. Have a good night.